Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Special Needs on the Table, with your host, Alyssa Apostolopolous.
Me, Yomi, Karade. Today we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Karen Kehdy. She's a special needs and autism advocate. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Yomi. Hi, Alyssa. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to be here today.
We're so happy to have you and to hear all about what you do. So if you can start by telling us about yourself and your inspiration to being involved in the special needs community.
Yeah, it has been, quite a journey. And from the health insurance expert by profession to an autism advocate and neurodiversity advocate by calling. It has been quite a journey. It all started actually when my daughter was diagnosed with autism. It was a few years back. And I have gone honestly through many phases, just like any parent. Honestly, having an autistic child was not on our radar. So it took me a long time to accept the diagnosis. And I had gone through many phases, from the grieving process to the depression, denial, and then finally acceptance, and now advocacy. So honestly, I couldn't help when I was struggling a lot. I could not help but think about other moms and other parents that are on the same boat. They're navigating the autism journey. So I started to join more support groups because I needed this as well. So the more I joined more support groups, I was more curious to know about autism and neurodiversity. So I started to read more, to research more about the neurodiversity and autism. I started to read more books. And it was like for a long time, like I was researching and reading about it. And then I finally decided to start with a platform, a social media platform, to share my experience with my daughter, to share my information, to write articles. I graduated also with the journalism, so I always was drawn to writing articles. So yeah, I started to write also articles about autism and neurodiversity. I wanted also to connect to the autistic community, and which is, through their social media platforms. So I started also to connect with actual autistics and autistic adults, because, in Dubai here, mainly the autistic population is, the average age is like up to 14 years. Like we don't have, there are definitely autistic adults, but there's just few of them. And, due to the social stigma, and autism is still viewed in UAE and in other countries, I'm pretty sure it's still viewed as a taboo. And like many people, they don't want to talk about it, or they don't want to talk about the diagnosis. So this is why I try to connect with the autistics advocates and the adults through the social platforms. And then, I started all about writing about autism and writing articles, and I have founded recently the Pod Store, which also supports autistics and other special needs. And yeah, that's it. This is how, it all started with my daughter.
Amazing.
Wonderful. So you're talking about autism. I know that, like, you're saying that in Dubai and UAE, that it's like there's a lot of stigma. So how does that work with neurodiversity as well? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So I think it's not only Dubai. I do believe that the stigma, the social stigma, is everywhere. Like I think it's all over the world. Like it's everywhere, not only particularly Dubai or UAE. Neurodiversity, honestly, is for me, it's much more than a concept or belief. For me, it's actually so vital because it gives us a new perspective about humanity. This viewpoint of accepting differences, brain differences, and not trying to change them or cure them is really important. We really need this in our world because we were raised and taught what's normal, what's not normal. And we didn't have to question its nature. And always differences were always taught to us that the difference is just the absence of normality or neurotypicality. But what if there's another valid neurotype, there's another valid way of thinking and of existing? So to me, neurodiversity is not just a concept, it's actually a proof that there's another valid neurotype. There's not only neurotypicals, there are also neurodivergents. So yeah, and unfortunately, there are many professionals and parents, they're against this movement because they believe that this the neurodiversity is just splitting or dividing the autism community. And most of these, they embrace the medical model, and they are convinced that neurodiversity advocates are against the medical model. But this is not true, actually, because neurodiversity concept does not deny the impairments that come with autism. We all know that there's definitely impairments that comes with autism, and they do not deny the disability aspect of autism. And they actually support treating many of the co-occurring conditions with autism, the medical conditions like gut issues, seizures, and many others. So neurodiversity is definitely not against the medical model, and it definitely supports treating all the comorbidities and the medical comorbidities of autism. But it's just against the fact that autism or other conditions are, just diseases, or they're not illness to be cured. They're just a different neurotype. So yeah, that's what autism is actually for me.
Definitely. And it's great that you have that perspective on it. And hopefully in the future, more people will have that perspective as well.
I really hope so. I really hope so. Yeah.
Now, do you feel like there are a lot of programs for people who have autism in Dubai and UAE?
Yeah, honestly, Dubai is a disabled-friendly city. There's a lot of support when it comes to special needs, and there's a clear law that supports the special needs. In fact, I think Yomi knows, in Dubai, we don't call the special needs special needs. They have replaced the term with people of determination. So yeah, they find it, and this was decided by the Sheikh here, and this is in recognition of their participation in the society, and they believe that this term is more, disabled friendly. So yeah, there's a lot of law that supports people of determination, and there's a lot of efforts done in Dubai to support the people of determination, governmental efforts, and even individual initiatives. And the treatments here are basically just like every country, there's focus on speech, ABA, OT, CBT, and there's a lot of centers actually in Dubai. We have almost I think more than 60 centers in Dubai, whether private centers or NGOs. So yes, I can say that there's a lot of support here in Dubai when it comes to special needs.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Just in there's 60 centers, 60.
That's almost, yeah.
So how can I ask you a quick question? So how big is Dubai for you having 60 centers? So how many people are there in Dubai, by the way?
Oh, there's I'm not sure about this actually, but there's, I think, Dubai, the population in Dubai is mainly expats. More than 70 people, or 70% of Dubai's population is expats. We have people from all over the world. We have people from US, we have people from UK, we have from China, from Italy, France, from Europe. So Dubai, the main population of Dubai is mainly expats. So the centers here make sure that most of the therapists are, from different countries. They speak more than one language. Because it's very difficult sometimes for a parent to find a therapist here in Dubai with his native language. For example, I'm Lebanese, and I have searched a lot to have for a speech therapist that's Lebanese, that talks Arabic language, Lebanese language. But that was not quite easy because there's a lot of different nationalities here, and there's a lot of different, nationalities and different, therapists talking different accents. So it's not easy, but it also has its benefits because, for example, in Lebanon, we talk more than one language, English, French, and Arabic. And there are many therapists here in Dubai that can really do the session in Arabic, French, or English.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So many kids with that. Being able to speak so many languages, being experts in different fields. I mean, you're able to reach kids in the best way possible, or adults.
And there's some parents, they decide that they need the therapy in their native language, like French, for example, or Arabic, rather than in English.
It's amazing. That's great that it can be so diverse. So just thinking about that, can you describe your work as well as a mental health and neurodiversity advocate?
Yeah, actually, like, as I've mentioned earlier, it was quite a tough journey for me. And, coming to terms with my daughter diagnosis was not easy. It took us some time, and the grieving process took a while. And like once I decided, or once I was convinced that I cannot undo her autism and I cannot change the fact that she's autistic. All I have to do is accept her diagnosis and advocate for her. It all started like when I started my social media platform and I got in touch with more autistics, actual autistics. So I started to write more, and I tried to post daily on my Instagram page. I try to, keep everything simple, all the information simple, because I want to reach more audience, and I also use many visuals. And I even write sometimes, in publications here. I do also interviews on public platforms in Dubai just to spread more messages about neurodiversity, the right perspective about neurodiversity. Because in Dubai, unfortunately, just like in any other country, there's a lot of misconception when it comes to neurodiversity. Mm-hmm. So I try my best, to show up in like public platforms, to write more articles, and through definitely my Instagram page. I'm very active. I almost post daily. I try to keep most of my followers engaged by having new contents daily. I'm now finalizing also my website. It will be live in, I think, 2 weeks by now. So the website will be, it will be like also very interactive with most of the parents. I'm planning also to do some NLP courses, which will, I think, help more the parents, the autistics in Dubai. And yeah, with the pot store, I have founded the pot store, which is now really a new concept in Dubai and in UAE. And hopefully it was an attempt to break the stigma and to spread more acceptance through this venture. I hope we can do that.
You sound so busy and on such a mission. I love it. So tell us more about Pod Store. Pod Store is a new concept store in UAE. It's basically dedicated for the people of determination. And it's the main attempt is to spread more acceptance and inclusion. We sell different items: stationery, t-shirts, apparel, hats, tote bags. We sell sensory items, and we make sure that all our items carry empowering messages to people of determination, whether visible disabilities or invisible disabilities, like autism, ADHD, and other invisible disabilities. So that's the main, the main target from the Pod Store. And recently, I have collaborated with an autistic artist. She is also designing many of our apparel products, and I'm really glad for this collaboration. I'm planning actually to collaborate with more autistic artists and to have more autistics on board. Because, like, I believe honestly, like, if you want to advocate for them, why not to include them? Like, why not to include them? There's nothing about them without them. So that was my main purpose. I wanted to have more autistics on board. And, it's just now a startup business. I hope with more time, we can do some granting system in the future. But for the time being, it's just a small business. So, yeah, and we're on the Instagram page, Pod Store Dubai, Pod Store Dubai. And the website will be launched soon, in 2 weeks as well. And we will be available soon in many centers in Dubai.
Excellent, excellent. So you use social media to really push your message out there, correct? Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about that and what you do with
social media. Yeah, it's so important to me personally, like because I use, as you said, the social media as the main platform I use to spread all my messages. And it's actually helped me a lot. The social media helped me a lot because, as I mentioned earlier, like I connected with the autistic community and the self-advocates through the social media, and this was an eye-opener for me personally, and it helped me a lot with my journey with my daughter. And I learned a lot from them, and I unlearned a lot from them because there's a lot of misconceptions, wrong information.
So it helped me a lot personally, and I use it now more often to spread my message. I use the Instagram, I'm now on Facebook, and I will have a website soon. Also, Podstore is on most of the social media platforms. So yeah, it's a big deal for me, social media.
Absolutely. It definitely helps spread our message. And, you know, for you, it really helps with your advocacy.
Yeah, and it's a free platform, so.
Yeah, of course.
That helps.
And I love the statement you made, nothing about them without them. What a great way to put it, that there is nothing that is going to change or happen if they're not involved and a part of the message and a part of what you're doing too. So we wanted to also ask you, how can inclusivity also mean neurodiversity acceptance?
Well, yeah, actually neurodiversity, in fact, it's all about acceptance and inclusion, because, you know, when you advocate for acceptance only, it's important. It's definitely important to advocate for awareness. Like we still need awareness, but it's not enough, because when we are advocating or spreading awareness, it's like we're teaching people tolerance, and autistics need more than that. They need acceptance and inclusion. You know, neurodiversity, it's been there for a long time, I think more than 15 years, but I don't know, just recently it has gained popularity. And in Dubai particularly, and UAE in general, I think it's still somehow new. There's many professionals and many parents, actual autistics, that don't know a lot about the term, or maybe they have the wrong information about this term. So I'm trying my best to spread the right perspective and right message about the neurodiversity. And luckily, there's a lot of, acceptance when it comes to professionals here in Dubai, because they have many of the professionals in Dubai recently, when they learned about neurodiversity, have changed their approach and their therapy approaches. And they have, you know, totally shifted perspectives about many old therapy approaches, especially when it comes to ABA, when it comes to OT. You know, they have started even to have more child-led therapy sessions, you know, rather than sitting on the table and forcing compliance, but, you know, having the more floor time with the kids and allowing kids to stim freely, because, you know, stimming is really helpful for autistics. And many autistic adults have made it clear that stimming is self-regulating and it really helps them, unless it's definitely harming or it's self-injury. So yeah, many now people here are accepting this fact, and even parents, they are allowing their kids to stim freely in the malls and the restaurants. So this is the inclusion, because this is trying to model acceptance for our kids, to include them in the society without trying to change them or to change their identity. Also now, many therapists are not trying to force eye contact, which is another message from the neurodiversity movement, because obviously, all the autistics are not comfortable with eye contact, and it can cause anxiety. And they can hear you, they can listen and just communicate without having the eye contact, because it just stresses them. And then they will have more social anxiety. So yes, professionals are coming to terms with all these, conversions, and they're trying to have more neurodiversity affirming therapies in Dubai. I hope more professionals will convert as well, and more professionals and parents will embrace this model as well.
It's great. I mean, I love the way that you talk about that, because it's embracing the whole person and not trying to change the person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like just like any relationship. You don't really want someone to try and change you.
It won't work. If you're trying to change your partner, it will never work. So you just have to accept your partner.
And vice versa. Yeah, nobody wants that. So this is beautiful, you know. So, you know, let's go talking about you as a mother with a child with autism. How do you take care of yourself and your own well-being?
As I've said many times, it was quite a journey, and I have gone through many phases of depression, and I had a lot of anxiety. So at some point I decided I need to seek professional help. So I started therapy myself, and honestly, it was the best decision because it helped me a lot, and it helped me accept myself and accept my daughter diagnosis. And parents of autistics, especially mothers, sometimes they have to take hard decisions. And most of them, especially here in Dubai, they have to sacrifice their jobs and their careers just to be present and to support more their kids. Especially when you don't have help at home, and when you're an expat, your parents are not available, no one is available to help you. So this is soul sucking, and this is honestly a struggle that most of the parents here and the mothers face. So I have discussed this over and over with my psychologist, and luckily I got over it and I came to terms with who I am right now. And I figured out, like, honestly, my self-worth, it's not about the position or the salary or my career path. It's actually about my contribution to our society. It's the contribution, it's what I offer to our society and my daughter. And I believe that advocating for my daughter right now is just as important as having my career path and the insurance. For the self-care, I have many things. Like, we usually do outings as moms. We go out mom's night out, movies. I read a lot. When I have time, I read a lot of books. I take care of my skin, my health and diet. But the only thing that I'm not doing is exercise. So I know Yomi will be angry about that. So I need to go back to the routine. Like, I need to start exercising.
I'm sure so many moms out there and parents in general can relate to your story and the struggles that you've been through, but also the ability to overcome that is incredible. And it is so important to be able to take care of yourself in order to be your best self for your kids.
Exactly. Like, if I don't take care of myself and my mental health, then I just can't take care of my daughter and my others. So, yeah.
So can you share a few success stories about your daughter?
We have a lot of success stories. I can share with you a few right now. Stacey had a limited vocabulary and speech at the beginning. And, with time, with the right speech therapy, with the right approach, and with the right help at home, now she's communicating better, and she has now much more vocabulary. She is communicating better. She is clear in her communication. She even started to make sentences. She's almost 8 now. She's almost 8 years old, but she's now trying to make full sentence, meaningful sentence. She can communicate what she can. And this is honestly a huge progress for us. So this is one of our victories with Stacey. Another victory, which is a major one, is about identifying her emotions. With most autistics, it's very hard to identify the emotions, and the alexithymia, it's very common, and they just can't identify how they feel. If they feel anxious, frustrated, jealous. So we have tried a lot of scenarios. I've tried with her the emotional week and tried some CBT sessions, but it didn't work. And finally, I have learned through the social media, actually, through one of the autistic therapists. She told me about the zones of regulation, and that was like 2-3 years back. And I have started reading about it, and I got the books, and we started to use this technique with Stacey, and it worked out. So now she's better. Like, she knows when she's anxious, she knows when she's sad, when she's jealous, and she can communicate better and identify better her emotions. So this is also a big victory, as we have gone so far from nothing to now trying to know more to explore her emotions.
Wonderful.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Because it's so hard when you have somebody, you have a child or somebody you're caring for, and you're trying to get the best out of them. It's very, very difficult.
That's true. And it's very hard also, like, when you don't know what's happening. Like, they can't communicate, they don't know even what's happening inside their brains or inside their body. They don't know how to identify what's happening.
Exactly.
She can't identify whether she's feeling sad because she's jealous from her brother, or she's feeling angry because of something else. So this is frustrating, and this is this is actually the main reason why kids and even autistic adults have meltdowns and burnouts. So
lack of understanding. So with that, what advice or resources would you give or recommend to parents who have a child with a disability or someone who has special needs?
I think I think each parent has different situations, and like they say, there's no one autistic child like another, and there's no one size fit treatment for everyone, because each child is different and has different challenges. But I would advise parents to connect more with the autistic community and autistic adults, to learn more about neurodiversity, to browse the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, try to read more about it, because it is really an eye-opener. It was an eye-opener for me, and I'm sure it will be for them. They will learn a lot from these people because they have gone through the same, and they will share their experiences, and many of them helped me a lot, and I'm sure they are ready to help other parents. And also, there are a lot of books written by autistic authors. I can recommend many books. Like, they can start by reading these books. And the best thing they can do, honestly, is to take care of their mental health as well. Because as Alyssa said, like, if they're not good, and if they don't take care of their mental health, then they cannot just take care of their kids. And the grieving process with autism is just normal. It can take weeks, it can take months, it can take years. So they don't have to be hard on themselves. Let them validate their negative emotions. But we all go through this, and the grieving process might be like forever, but it's just like we need to accept it and validate our emotions, and that's totally okay. It's normal, I think. So yeah. And last but not least, I would just ask the parents to model acceptance, because when they model acceptance, their kids feel loved. They will feel also they are accepted by their parents, and then they will grow up with more self-confidence, with more self-acceptance and self-love, which is, I think, what every parent needs.
Yes, and I'm sure every parent's goal is for their child to be accepted and to be loved and to be seen for who they are, no matter what that looks like.
Exactly. It's really hard in this society because there's a lot of ableism, there's a lot of social stigma, but at least as parents, we can model this acceptance.
Yes, definitely. And you are clearly making such a positive impact on the world. What are some of your other goals for the future? It sounds like you have your website coming out very soon. What's the plan, years from now?
Yeah, I'm a mom on a mission. So I'm like a mom on a mission. I'm trying to spread more positivity and acceptance when it comes to disabilities. I will be finalizing my website soon, in 2 weeks, and I will be posting more articles, and it will be an interactive website where parents can just interact and send me direct messages. I will also take my courses with an NLP so I can help them in a better way. And I will be also having new projects through Podstore. I will be collaborating with more autistics, adults, and I will be collaborating also with many centers, because I just want to spread to spread the right message and to somehow break the stigma, which I know is very hard, but so small acts multiplied by many can make a difference in our society. So I hope we can do this.
Yes, definitely. Karen, thank you so much for joining us today and being on our podcast. You have been an inspiration and are sharing so many good things out there in the world. We're just so grateful to be able to spend some time with you, even with our crazy time difference too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much as well.
Thank you. I was so glad to be here on your podcast, and thank you again for having me.
And we're going to make sure that when we post this on YouTube, it's going to include your Instagram. It's going to maybe include your new website that's coming out, so people know where to check you out and find out more information. And also be sure to check us out on YouTube and Instagram at Special Needs on the Table.
Thank you, Alyssa. I appreciate it.
Thank you.